Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic...
Cell phone ringing.
Someone's cell phone, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably have turned it off.
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah, let me answer it.
Who is it? Who is it?
I don't know. Hello? We're kind of filming the show right now, but may I ask who this is? Dr. Aladeed.
Yeah, tell him come on.
Well, yeah, Dr. Haney says you should come now.
Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the significance of Women's History Month. And we have with us to talk about the importance of Women's History Month, not only in the United States, but throughout the world, Alana McLaughlin. Alana, let's start off by giving us some information in reference to your background, your education, and some of your experiences, and then we'll get into what you consider to be women who are significant in terms of March Women's History Month. I think you recognize that in February we celebrated African American History Month, and now this is March, and we want you to sort of demonstrate some information in reference to significant women during Women's History Month. But first, let's start off by talking about you and give us some information in reference to your experiences and being here this morning.
Well, like you've already stated, my name is Alana McLaughlin. I am 13, and I'm an 8th grader, but I guess in the summer I'll be starting high school. I am very well involved in multiple organizations and multiple things, such as every summer I attend Western Kentucky University's camps for that their Center for Gifted Studies holds, and I am part of the Junior National Young Leaders Conference and multiple organizations in which I can help other people. And so basically I think that it came from you, that I inherited that loving heart and wanting to give and make a change. And that's what really makes me excited to be talking about significant women, because those are women who have made a global change. Like, I've only made a change in my community, and I strive to be like these women who have made these global changes.
Well, Lana, during this first segment, let's talk about some of the women that you consider to be so very important and the impact that these women had upon either national history or world history or whatever, and sort of give us that kind of information during the first segment of this show.
And before I start talking about these women, I want to explain to you why Women's History Month is so significant to me. I always grew up, well, I'm growing up in a society where there's always women can't do this and women aren't supposed to do that. But these women defied the odds. They did what no woman had done before, and they opened so many doors for other women, whether they be black nurses, teachers, etc. And so that's what really makes me so grateful to these women, because they show girls and teenagers like me that you can do what you set your mind to. It does not matter race, ethnicity, age, height, weight. It doesn't matter. As long as you have that heart and you want to give, you can.
The importance of things that women have contributed to your experience as well as the world's experience. Is that essentially what you're saying?
Yes, and I greatly thank these women, and I praise them daily for giving me so many opportunities that I wouldn't have had without them.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about some of the women that you feel to be so very, very important in helping to shape your life and others this morning.
Now, in the second segment, I'm really going to get into this, but mainly today I'll be talking about Marie Curie, the scientist, Zora Neale Hurston, the author, most notable for Their Eyes Were Watching God, and Mother Teresa, who was an Albanian Roman Catholic Church figure who was well noted for miracles and being a saint. Mm-hmm. Oh, and actually about being a saint, Pope Francis actually just made her a saint in December of 2015, so I just wanted to throw that out there. But I'm going to dive more deep into this in the second segment, where I'll be explaining these women and how they contributed to my life and how they made a difference in our society now, whether they be Polish, American, or not.
And so we can anticipate the kind of information dealing with Women's History Month that is worldwide and not something that is limited primarily to the United States or anything like that. Is that what we're saying?
Yes. Only one woman that I'll be talking about is actually even from the United States, and that's Zora Neale Hurston, because Marie Curie is Polish, and like I said, Mother Teresa is Albanian. And so those are the women that I'll be talking about. And these, you're probably familiar with these women, but you're probably not familiar with their most notable works. Or, well, you might be, but I'm going to be talking about the smaller things that they've done, which are still very important, but they're just not as talked about as their big works. Like, for instance, Zora Neale Hurston, her books are a lot talked about, but her short stories are not. And Marie Curie, the fact that she started the research on radioactivity is well talked about, but her smaller activities were not. And Mother Teresa, her miracles were well talked about, but her smaller stuff was not. And so I'll be going to the smaller stuff that a lot of people don't know about, because I do think they're still interesting.
Okay, well, what we'll do, Lana, we'll take this first commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. Which is my camera? Am I dealing with this, the middle camera? Huh?
Camera 6.
Is that the camera? Okay, I've been dealing with this camera. This is my camera? Okay, very good. The one on the bottom?
Look up, Mike. You can look up here.
Okay, but okay, yeah. I've been dealing with that camera.
With camera 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very
I've been
good.
dealing with you, so.
Okay, and so the next segment, this is an 8-minute segment that's coming up now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There'll be 10 minutes in the end.
Yeah, in 10 minutes. So you ready to deal with this 8-minute segment?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can talk a lot better now that my nose is itch, because like my nose is itch, I couldn't think.
I can deal a lot better now because that's usually my camera there. But so I was trying to deal with all 5 of them, as a matter of fact. Why don't you darken? Can you darken all of those except? Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, now.
I wish I could see the clock.
You can't see a clock.
No, I can. I just kind of gotta look discreetly.
No, well, I'll keep you. He'll give me 2 minutes, and then.
Okay.
You're doing well.
Thanks.
Really, the information that you're giving now.
My nose.
And so you got a lot of more information that's stored up.
Yep.
Thank you, and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Alana McLaughlin, and she's giving us some information dealing with the significance of Women's History Month. She's already dealt with at least 3 individuals that played a very, very significant role in national history as well as international history. And Lana, let's see if we can pick up where we left off during the before the break, and to have you to continue giving us some information in reference to the significance of Women's History Month.
All right. In the first segment, I explained how I will be focusing on three main women: Marie Curie, the scientist; Zora Neale Hurston, the writer; and Mother Teresa, who was a saint. And so I'm going to start with Mother Teresa because she is the most criticized. Mother Teresa is an Albanian Roman Catholic Church saint who is notable for performing many miracles, including the one time where she gave a woman a heart locket. You know, the types of lockets that you can open, they have a picture. Well, they had a picture of Mother Teresa inside it. And when the woman wore it, she said that she saw a beam of light, and then the next day her cancerous tumors were gone. And so the Vatican was very impressed with this, and that's one of the reasons why she is a saint today. And another big thing that she did was curing one man of multiple brain tumors. And so she was well known for curing you of symptoms and tumors and etc. But here's the thing, for every famous person or for every good person, there's always going to be those people who discredit their work. Like, for instance, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who stood for African American rights. There were always those people who disagreed with what he did or thought that he wasn't doing it right. And for instance, James Earl Ray was one of those people who eventually assassinated Dr. King in Memphis, Tennessee. And so basically, there are so many critics who think that Mother Teresa should not be a saint. They've accused her of misusing the funds from her charity, Missionaries for Charity. They've accused her of just doing this to get fame, and they've accused her of not even having real powers. They've just said that the people that she cured were already on medicines, and it just so happened it was a coincidence that when Mother Teresa came around, their ailments were just gone. And so basically, Mother Teresa actually was voted in 2011 as the world's most admired woman because of her works, because the majority of the population, American or not, the majority of the population does believe that she was a very genuine woman and was true to her work and not just doing it for money or fame, but that they believe that she was doing it for Christ, our Lord and Savior, and that she was doing it from the heart. And so I started with her because she does have a lot of criticism. If you look up, like, if you look up Mother Teresa, you will find so many websites and stories dedicated to trying to prove that she was
not real
and fake and a hoax, basically. But the next person I want to really speak about is Marie Curie. She was a Polish-born yet French naturalized. She was a French naturalized citizen, and she was a scientist or chemist. And she actually, here's an interesting fact, she was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. She's the first and only woman to win 2 of them, and she's the only person to win them in different sciences. And so she has a Nobel Prize in chemistry and physics, which is very nice. She has many, many awards, but most notably her Nobel Prizes. And actually, another fun fact, the Curie family has the most Nobel Prize recipients of any family up to date. And they hold this record, even though Marie and her husband Pierre won their awards in the 1800s, and her children, or grandchildren, and son-in-laws all won theirs in the early 1900s. And so basically, no family has more Nobel Prize recipients than the Curie family. But what really made Marie Curie rise to being how famous she is now is the fact that she started research on radioactivity. And radioactivity is actually used in chemotherapy to rid you of cancer. And so basically she is noted and she is praised for being one of the main people to A, start research on radioactivity, and B, suggest that it should be used to cure cancer. And then, you know, radioactivity, and then chemotherapy was made, and it's helped lots of people overcome cancer. And so that's what makes Marie Curie famous, and also her works on different sciences. And she actually died from being around all those gaseous fumes, and back then they didn't know that, you know, that could be harmful, but she refused to use a mask or gloves or whatever, and so she was constantly exposed to radioactivity because she would have it on her hands. So if you ate something with your hands, it's going into your body, and it's not going in the right way, because you might think that since it was used for chemotherapy, that it could just be just good. But if you're consuming radioactivity and it's not in the right way, then it can be deadly.
Lorna, where did you get your source of information in reference to Ms. Curie?
For instance, I've gone to different websites, and I've gone to Google, Bing, different search engines, and I've gathered together the information that they pulled up on these women, and I've combined them from different websites, and I've made sure that all the facts that I'm giving you now are real facts. And so I've done extensive research on these women for a good period of time now. And so before the second segment ends, I would like to talk about Zora Neale Hurston, which is one of my favorite authors. She has over 50 novels, well, she has over 4 novels, and she has over 50 short stories, poems, plays, and etc. Now, Zora Neale Hurston, you might know her as the woman who wrote Their Eyes Were Watching God, and that's her most notable novel. And she's also known for being a very big part of the Harlem Renaissance. And the Harlem Renaissance was an era where African-American poets and artists all came together, and it was really the boom in African-American literature and culture. Like, you know, it paved the way for people like Toni Morrison and etc. And so Zora Neale Hurston, you may just know her as an author, but she was actually a very interesting woman. For instance, I don't know if they got married or not, but she used to date a man who was 17 years younger than her. And she was actually an atheist, as she put in one of her stories, because she described prayer as a cry of weakness, and she really was out there about her religion and how she was just saying that I'm not dissing religion, but religion's not for me. And she was actually, some people think that she was a liberal, and some people think that she wasn't. And her political views are not even known to this day, because of all her works really showed something different, because she would always get into the mood of the book, so you would never know. And so, but the one thing we do know about her personal life was that she was an atheist, and she discredited prayer and all that, and just showed that she believes in the universe instead of religion.
Okay, Lorna, what we're going to do, we're going to take this second commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to have about 10 minutes, and that'll give you an opportunity to make some more statements in reference to some of the significant women that you'd like to talk about. But I want you to leave at least 3 or 4 minutes before the end of this show so that you can give us some information in reference to how young people ought to receive this information. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. Last 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah, that's excellent information. You're really doing well. You're better than I thought you were. Huh? Really, you better.
Did I earn that phone?
Yeah, you really did. You really did. Let's see now, who's this next guest? Now, your father's not going to come until 11. Whatever. And so I want you to take that brown envelope and take care of all that information that has to go in there, and sort of go out and wait for these other folks to come in. Okay. Make sure there's a schedule. Take that schedule out there and sort of keep up with that. Yeah, this is excellent. I don't think we're going to get any more articulate statements on the show today in reference to what you're doing. It'll give me a chance to get a word in edgewise, which is good. Yeah.
30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have you to speak to your colleagues or your class. Thank you and welcome back to the final segment of the show for today. We're talking to Alana McLaughlin, and she's giving us some information concerning significant women during the March month of women's history. And so, Alana, let's pick up where we left off the last time. You've already given us some excellent information in reference to at least 2 women. And we want you to continue not only that information, but other information that you might have to bring in to sort of broaden what we're doing during this last 10 minutes.
All right, so in the second segment, I spoke about Zora Neale Hurston, who is an author and a writer of short stories, plays, and etc. during the Harlem Renaissance. I spoke about Marie Curie, the Polish-born yet French-naturalized chemist who is the only person to ever win 2 Nobel Prizes in different sciences. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize in general, and she's the first and only woman to win 2 of them. Then I spoke about Mother Teresa, who is the widely famed and widely loved yet widely criticized saint of the Roman Catholic Church, who was recently made a saint by Pope Francis in December of 2015. Now, all these women, they've made tremendous impacts, and they've paved the way for girls like me and younger women, and they've paved the way for people that you're probably more familiar of, such as Taraji P. Henson, Beyonce, and other notable women of today's society. Now, I really want to talk about Taraji P. Henson because she is one of my favorite actresses, and if you're not familiar with her, you actually probably are, you just don't know her name. But if you admire Cookie from Empire, then you know how much Taraji P. Henson can act, because she can act. And I was actually very fortunate to be able to see her speak at Tennessee State University around this time last year, actually. She came to TSU when it was actually sold out, I think. And she came and spoke, and I got to see her, and I got to ask her questions. She was very nice. It was a really nice event. And so Taraji P. Henson, she is an actress. She's her most famous works are like I Can Do Bad All By Myself, and especially Empire. Now, Empire, if you're not familiar with it, is a show about an African-American recording company, which is a family called, they call themselves Empire. It's just a really nice show, and if you don't watch it, it comes on Fox. It comes back on in March, I think. But anyway, that's Empire. And I Can Do Bad All By Myself was a woman who was a singer at a club, and she has to take in her nephews and her niece, and she has to raise them while kind of raising herself. And she's worked in a lot of great things, and I think that wouldn't have been possible without these women, because they showed that you do not have to be a man to do certain things. Like, for instance, there was a time when they thought that women couldn't be actresses, and there was a time where they thought that men couldn't be models. And so there are always those people who break those boundaries and say, hey, if I can do this, then you can do this. Like Marie Curie said, if I can be a scientist, then a man could be a makeup artist. Anything, because since these people defy these odds, it should empower you to say that you can defy your odds. And for instance, like Beyonce is probably one of the most acclaimed artists in the world, really. And she's actually come under a lot of controversy recently for her Super Bowl performance, where she had a Black Panther themed performance at the Super Bowl. I personally enjoyed it because I thought that it had Black power in it, it had spirit, I liked it. But a lot of people are saying, you know, she's like a racist and she's going overboard with it. But it's up to you. And if you want to see the Super Bowl performance, you can probably just look it up on YouTube. And her new song Formation that just came out, the video's under a lot of controversy in the lyrics, and if you want to look that up, you can look that up too. It's quite easy to find. And basically, women like this empower me, but there are always women back at home who should empower you. And I know a lot of people don't have those types of women in their lives, and so that's why I like to be a mentor and etc. And I like to encourage my friends to be mentors to those people who don't have those women figures, like those boys who are growing up without parents and etc., running the streets and etc. But just imagine the difference you could make just by being that woman figure that they've never had in their lives. And so basically, 2 women who have encouraged me a lot in my life are my grandmother and my mother, basically your wife and your daughter. the reason that my grandmother encourages me is because she showed me and she's told me multiple times that whatever I want to do, that I can do. She's never told me that there was something I couldn't do. Even if I wasn't the best at something, for instance, like running track, I didn't always make first place, or I didn't even always place all the time.
Or finish.
Or finish. Don't bring that up. No, but anyway, I didn't always do the best, but she encouraged me after every single game. And she told me, you know what, there's always room for improvement, but just don't ever give up. And I think that's the reason why I'm here today, because when I first started the show, I was, it was about 6 years ago. I was like, I don't even know how old.
8 years old.
8, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And so I wasn't the best at speaking. Why? Because I was 8. I had a gap right here. I was missing a tooth. I needed a crown. Did I even have glasses at that point?
No, you didn't have any glasses.
I couldn't see. I was a mess. But she encouraged me and she would get up in the mornings and watch my show, and she'd wake me up. She'd be like, "Lana, I just watched your show, and you did so good." And she would just gas me up, knowing that I wasn't that good, but she's the reason why.
No, you were pretty good, now, Lana, even at 8. Now, that's why you're here now. Good.
And she encouraged me so much where I just didn't want to stop filming the show, and so I spend more time researching my topics, so I have more to talk about, and I've worked on my vocabulary, and I've tried not to flare my hands as much, but that didn't work. And so she's helped me grow a lot. And another woman who's helped me grow a lot is my mother. She has always supported my endeavors as well, but she's also taught me a lot of things. I like my grandmother. My grandmother is more big on encouraging me and basically never letting me give up. I mean, she's never let me give up. If I said, I can't do it, she won't let me give up. Like, for instance, I couldn't play trumpet. She made me practice, and she made me get good to the point where I actually was fortunate enough to be a part of Metro Nashville's honor band, middle school honor band, which was a really nice event. It was a 2-day event. I had to have a concert. It was really nice. And so I thank these women in my life for being in my life, and I thank them for not saying you can't do this and you'll never be good like that, because they don't have that type of hate in their hearts. My mother and my grandmother have never told me that there's something I couldn't do. If I said, Mom, I want to do this, you can do it. Just practice for it and get ready for it. If I say, I want to be an astronaut, well, learn science and get good at science, because they've never told me I couldn't do anything. I could say that I want to fly, and they could say, well, if you make a machine, you can fly. They would never tell me that I couldn't. And I'm so happy about that, because it's given me so much self-confidence, and it's helped me with so many opportunities in my life.
So in a real personal way, you can say that Women's History Month is not only for the general public, but each person has to look within their own lives and within their own households. And they can find women who are significant and women who are doing the same thing in different ways than as the women that you are doing dealing with this morning. Is that what we're saying?
Of course. And if you are a woman and you didn't grow up with those types of figures, be that figure to somebody. If you have a son, be that figure to your son. Even if you don't have children, you can go to like the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA. You can be those figures to kids who didn't have that. And hopefully they can grow up a lot better than a child